Hey, what's up? Husman here, and in today's video I'm gonna talk you through my remix that I did for Mark Sixma, which is out now. It's a really awesome track which he's done with Hewitt together. It's called Restless Hearts, and I had the pleasure to work on this track and to give my own spin to it. So today I'm gonna show you how I came up with all the melodics, all the bass lines, the synths. And we're basically gonna just give you a run through about my remix for Mark Sixma and Hewitt. So here's the project, and once again labeled everything nicely. So I think the first thing we would start off with is the intro drop. Is something that I worked I think the longest on for this track, because I had to find something which wasn't which was unique but also had like a cool feel to it and matched with the original vocal. So I found these little melody notes for like a chord melody which sound like this. And I thought it really worked well with the existing melody, which is this one, which I basically just took the audio from Mark Sixma's original. So it basically has a cool question response in the drop. Then we need some bass, so I made like a sub bass with just a little sine wave. Add a kick on that, which is just a simple cashmere kick, I believe. Yes, with some top kicks. So it's like a signature kick from Cashmere. And then with two top kicks. So they, with the sub. And then the super saw. And I want to give it a little bit more of a groove. So I thought like, let's try something more rolling. So I found this little Psy bass Inspire. And it just gives a bit of more dynamics, and I think it works really well together. And as you might know, the first kick is really important in dance music. There needs to be something happening on the first kick. And I started off with like a brass hit that you hear a lot of big room music. But then I thought like maybe that's a bit too cheesy, so I looked for like a hall kick actually. And it sounds like this without the sidechain. So I basically sidechain that to the kick as well, and then when the drop kicks in, you have a little bit more of a punch to it. And that happens every so often, like on the first bar, the 8th bar, the 4th bar. And then next to that I want to add some more texture to this break, to this build. What am I saying? To this drop actually. So I added some little Psy samples. And I add a little bit of a texture here, which is like a Psy effects, which is like really low in volume, so I'll boost it up a bit. Just to add some weirdness towards this drop, you know. And then next up, we added some drums, which like some claps. Really simple stuff, just from my web shop pack, I believe, or from my Patreon pack. A little top loop. And they basically give it a bit more power, a bit more speed to it. But then it was about adding the vocal in. And I really wanted to make the bass follow the vocal. So here's the main vocal that we've achieved from... So here's the main vocal that I got from Hewitt and Sixma.
The cold wind's blowing, a feeling I can't take.
So I basically put a sidechain on top of it. And then I made the bass line follow the pattern of the vocal.
A feeling I can't take. The distant voices, they're calling me out.
And then in the first part I keep the super saws quite stale. I keep them on the same kind of rhythm. But then the second part I'm going to add some more movement in this as well.
Never going back.
But I keep the cutoff down, so it's not conflicting with the vocal as much. And then I also like added the main lead, and I did a little bit of filter automation, so it goes a bit like this. And it's basically a combination of filtering, reverb, delay to give it some movement but not sit in the way of the vocal, because that's for me the most important part of this section. So if you combine all the things with some effects, then you get something like...
Never going back now, never going back. There is no other way. Never going back now, never going back.
And that's basically the whole intro drop, and it was the part that took me the most time to make, because when we move on to the breakdown, you notice that I basically just copy-pasted Mark Sixma's breakdown for the start of the break, because it's like sometimes when you get something which is so good, like the piano, the strings, the pad is so good, why change it if it's already so good? Because the remix, I feel like when people ask you to do a remix, you need to bring your own sounds towards it, and I thought with this one I can do much more better changes towards the melody and the drops instead of to the breakdown. So it's basically just a piano that's already from the original, and then some strings that Mark made, and then a pad and a vocal.
Cars on our way tonight. Whoa.
But then comes the Husman sound, and I basically made like a melody, and I wanted to give something more melodic. I didn't want to go for like a big boom drop. I wanted to be like a melodic drop. So I found this kind of melody, which is, let's start with the main. Let's start with the chords. That's basically one layer. Then I have the main synth, which I made in silent, and this preset is also available for all of you on my Patreon pack. And then I made a really wide pad synth, so it's like really nice balance. And basically this fills up the whole spectrum. You got a wide synth, like a main super saw for the wideness of the sound. You got the middle synth, which gives the character. And you got a little twinkle on the side, which gives it a bit more texture, so to say. And then I made a little top lead. It's actually like a little texture to build towards the drop. Again, my trusty telephone effect in full effect, pun intended. And yeah, then we just have a build-up, which is a simple build-up, which I made from a few of my Patreon packs. Some impacts, some risers, the vocal, and then I basically kept the main melody, because I think if you make it like really with a pitch bend and stuff, it will remove a bit the beautiful melodic elements of it. So I thought, let's just keep it melodic.
Cars on our way tonight. Worlds apart, you're on my mind.
And then it's about making some groove basses, so it really starts moving, because if I would remove the bass lines in this one, it would sound a bit like... So then it's like just the sub bass and the low notes of this arpeggiated melody. And so we have like one groove bass which sound like this, which is the wider one, and then we got a rolling bass, which is the main one. So as you can see here, once again, I make sure that one sound is really wide and one sound is in the middle, so they really well complement each other. And then combine that with the main melodies. And to just make it a bit more atmospherical, I used the voice from the original, like the stutter voice in there as well, sidechained it to the kick and the bass. To just give it a bit more uniqueness towards that melody, because we've already heard the melody, and then just basically some simple noise, and then some crash. And then that was basically how I sent the first version to Mark, with just this loop of 8 bars duplicated as a main job, and he was like, why don't you try to do some more vocal chops, which you used to do a lot? So Sorry Emma, I took your vocal and I made it a bit more differently.
Run away to my down on I never go on a down on run away to my.
And I think that's a great way to give the drop, the second part of the drop, more of a unique character. And then it sounds like this. And then in the end, basically building up towards the final drop, and then it's basically the same drop, roughly as the intro drop. And then we go into the outro. And that's basically how I made my remix Restless Hearts. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed working on this remix. And the remix is out now on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, I guess everywhere you would normally get your music. The parts of this remix are also available in this month's Patreon pack, which will be out tomorrow. So keep an eye out for there. I got the MIDI, the samples, and the presets that I use for the remix. If you like what I do, hit that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next video. Take care, bye bye.